Hello and welcome back to Speed Demon Painting. Today we're taking a look at the Destiny Battlefleet set, which was sent to me by Warcradle Studios for review. Now I've gone ahead and removed the shrink wrap ahead of recording so you don't get any obvious glares, and once we take the sleeve off we can see what is actually inside this big box. This is the largest type of box that Warcradle Studios produces, which is the same size as their two-player starter sets in essence, so you can expect a lot of models within this box. Now the sleeve of the box mentions that there is a build instruction booklet included in this one, but there wasn't. They did include this little pamphlet which has an advertisement on there for Armored Clash, but on the back side of it you get a QR code that sends you to the build instructions online, as they are now all digital. I don't really mind that change, mind you. I have had these build instructions in many boxes before, and they all just end up in the trash anyway once the rules are updated and get out of beta phase, so it's not really an issue. Inside of the box though, you will find a bunch of bases for your SRS tokens, a grand total of 20, which is pretty good because you can send 8 out with your Destiny, and then you have another 12 if you want to make some extra Rangers as well. In terms of bases, you get the ones that you need. There weren't really any extras in there, and you also get flying stems for them. Now for the big ship you will need the wide ones, and you will need it as well for the medium-sized ones, and you get 4 medium bases for this one as well. So that means you will need to use the short, wider stem on occasion, as it came with 3 of these see-through flight stands with them as well. That probably does mean that you need to use the curved ones for all of the Bokata carriers that can be found in here, which isn't a big deal. You only get a single thin straight stem, so you probably can't use that one unless you don't mind having a mixture amongst your different models, but I personally do not think that looks the best. Now you get 8 small bases because, well, there are 8 plastic sprues in this one, which means you can build quite a lot of the smallest rotor models. Phew, that was a mouthful. There's also some resin bits in here. Mine were poking through a bit, through the baggie. Not really a big deal, I mean, they were left undamaged. These resin bits are actually the ones that go into the center to form that lower deck, but you also have the top part, which has all the different bridges on there. Now these come in 2 parts, so you will need to glue them together, as you can see here. These 2 pieces form the top deck, if you will, from the Destiny once you glue them together. You will have to remove them and clip them off from the sides. It's not too difficult to do though, it was a fairly straightforward cleanup job. There are a few sprue gates on there that you will need to remove as well, and you definitely want to make sure that you remove enough of the resin parts so that you can glue together nicely and you don't end up with some unsightly gaps on your model. You also get 4 of these side bridges in here that have these lovely detailed extra broadsides on them. The model itself, rules-wise, comes with the 3 heavy broadsides on each side, and if you're looking forward to the rules, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, because I'm doing a video about the updated Air Force for the Union very soon. And of course, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up as well, so people can find it more easily on YouTube itself. Now these 2 parts form the central deck, and you sort of have to slide them together after clipping them off. These do come with a bit of mold lines on the side, which can easily be scraped off, mind you, but you will have to take some care of it. It's not super visible, but like this bit that sticks out at the end is visible when seen from the side, so you do want to take care of cleaning these parts up quite well. Now my model, came with absolutely no warping whatsoever. These central bits seem to make it quite robust, and means that warping is not that much of an issue, but should it be an issue for your model, a bit of warm water and you should be able to straighten that one out in no time. Now I mentioned at the beginning of the video that the instruction booklet was not included in this set, but I reached out to the people at Warcradle and they helped me out because I wasn't entirely sure what type of base you needed to install on the side parts that you can see here, and you can really tell from the sleeve itself, but it comes with no thingy whatsoever, no minute base, no bombs. This one just has the normal part at the bottom, and that's essentially how I assembled the models as well. Now when it comes to the plastics, we know these plastics from the Fortune and Glory starter set, 2-player starter set, and they have been available as well in the Honorable Eclipse company, so you might have seen these before. They come with an SRS token, so you'll have plenty of them, as there are 8 of these sprues available in this box. And yeah, they all have a different front end. This, for instance, is the part of the Ranger, which is now a very strong option, which needs to be combined with that smaller deck that can be found here. Now, when you're assembling this model, you will actually have a lot of different leftover parts as well, because you'll mostly be using the central hull. It doesn't even each get their own tail, and this is the front part that you will need for the Destiny class, which is the one with the double magnetic guns, and it gets 2 of those, so it's got quite a bit of firepower in the front end, as these have been buffed recently in the recent Orbat. Now the bottom bay part is the one I'm showing here. You do not use the minute bay one, you use the regular one. On top of that, you will be needing to build at least one tail end of this model, so there'll be a lot of leftover parts, like I said. And then for the Bogota, you've got a couple of options that you can hang on the side of it as well. They are glued to the bottom there. I'll be doing mine with the torpedo turrets to go for the most offensive output that they can get, which are these little parts here, and that really gels well with the Destiny class, because they can repair them. If you want to have a bomber version, you can go for the fuel tanks as well. That's also quite offensive, but not quite as good at range as the other ones are. Now when it comes to building these big air units, these big flagships, I'm going to be assembling mine in smaller parts. They do all glue together quite easily at the end of it, but if you want to tackle a big project like this, it's always best to just not glue everything together yet, resist the temptation to want to field it as fast as possible, and just do it in manageable chunks that you can do one at a time, so you've got good good reach, that you can get to all of the different parts. And when it comes to the sub-assemblies, this is how I decided to do it. I glued 2 of the central hulls along with the front part that I've mentioned, along with the tail, which is connected with that middle bit. Now I did leave these side bits off. They clamp in with a lot of force, as you can see here, but they can quite easily be reinstalled afterwards, especially if you use a bit of plastic glue that sort of melts these tabs and makes installing them even easier. So yeah, that's pretty much how I went about with this. The central deck has now been cleaned up on the sides, at least on the parts that are somewhat visible, and I will be painting this one predominantly in metallics as well. I'll also be having a paint guide video coming up for this model, and yeah, definitely watch this channel if you want to see how you can actually paint these rather quickly. The reason why I keep them separate is, like I said, they click into place rather easily, and this way you can still reach everything, and you can even prime them and base coat them very rapidly in their own color. Especially for this top deck, which will have a lot of white elements on them. I do not want to go and apply a black primer to these, so I'll be giving it even a different spray color when I'm going about painting this model. Now the top deck also comes with this small plastic radar dish that will need to be glued, of course, using super glue, because plastic and resin cannot be joined together using regular plastic cement. On top of that, I kept the 4 rocket batteries separate as well, because quite contrary to the other flyers, they will need to be inserted both at the top and the bottom of the central connecting parts, because it has a bit of a space in there to put the flight stem in, but I won't be using that, or it won't be used with the Destiny class. Now in terms of the paint job, this is what I will be going for. I've always painted the bridge in sort of a White House inspired color scheme in white, and that was actually quite a pain doing that with this specific model, because getting a clean white requires multiple thin coats, which is why I recommend sub-assemblies for this model. Now that was it for the review of this box. I will be doing 2 follow-up videos, the paint guide that I mentioned earlier, but also a rules review of all the different aerial units that the Union now has access to, because you can really make a potent air force with this new Orbat update. So I do hope to see you in those next videos. Until then, bye!